Hey everybody, welcome back to JT channel and welcome to a video that you had to know was coming. I might have told you about it actually, but long story short, I'm just gonna sit here for a little while and talk about John Cena as he is set to retire in 6 days as of me recording this. By the time it goes out, it'll probably be, I might send it out today, so that last sentence might have been moot. I don't know. I have a lot of videos to make for the end of the year and this is one of the biggest ones. In case you're wondering, here in the opening, I'll tell you, I'm also going to do picks and predictions for Saturday night's main event, review for Saturday night's main event, our 2-year anniversary, and all the end of year videos, wrestlers of the year, my favorite wrestlers of the year, my favorite matches of the year, my favorite shows of the year. We'll talk more about that maybe at the end of this video or later on in those videos. But this had to be the first one, right? John Cena has been wrestling for over 23 years now in WWE, like specifically WWE. He's never gone anywhere else or done anything crazy since 2002 when he debuted. So I just want to talk about it for a little while. I say a little while. This video might be 30, 40 minutes long. It might be 15 to 16 minutes long. I just want to talk about my experiences, some of my favorite memories, etc., etc. And what I want to start with is the whole remembering when he debuted, because that's one of those things that people are gonna, ooh. Sorry, I don't know where I was. I stopped for a second to try to fix the lighting. So I'm gone again. I want to start to a video. I kept disappearing. Okay, so let's jump into it. Let's talk about John Cena. Let's talk about his debut. Big question is, do I remember it? I was 11. I was born in 1991. Yes, I'm old. So depending on when he actually debuted, I was either 10 or 11. And believe it or not, I do remember it pretty well. Pretty sure I was living with my grandma at the time. And we were watching Kurt Angle do his open challenge or whatever it was. He was like, who back there wants to face Kurt Angle? Yada, yada, yada. Out comes this huge, bulky guy with a terrible haircut. And in the shortest of shorts that he could possibly wear on television in 2002. And he says his name is John Cena. He says ruthless aggression. He slaps the absolute piss out of Kurt Angle. And they has this awesome showing. It was good stuff. Like, I remember being really impressed. My grandma wasn't impressed, which, goes to show you never know who you're going to like and who you're not going to like as years go on. Especially when it comes to debuts. And we were all just kind of like, who is this guy that just slapped Kurt Angle? And you could tell even in the earliest of days that WWE had big plans for him. Because I think it was that same SmackDown that he shook hands with The Undertaker. And Undertaker said, good job, kid. It's like, wow, talk about a rub. We all know the story. I'm not sitting here telling you the history of John Cena. But I do remember that day. I won't say I remember like it was yesterday. But I do remember watching him debut. I remember being curious, but whatever. What got me, of course, what got everybody is when he started rapping, the Dr. Thugonomics, all that stuff. I was a teenager when he was doing that, so I always went tee-hee-hee and giggled like a fucking school child, literally, because he was always doing raps that were immature. His character was super immature, but that's what worked in the early to mid 2000s, right? And like, I always like to remind people of this because people go, oh, when John Cena was a rapper, he was always so good and his raps were so great. Almost all of his raps were about penises, balls, or anuses. That's it. He very rarely said anything good. He did have good disses, don't get me wrong. I'm sure someone's going to be like, oh, what about this one? But there was always, choke on these nuts. There was always making fun of people's sizes. I know one I for some reason locked in my memory forever is when he said the Big Show looked like he was smuggling plums. Like I said, there was another one where here's a flashback for you. If you guys remember Kenzo Suzuki, he was a Japanese wrestler who had a manager who was a geisha basically, white face paint and all that, and John Cena one time, I was with my best friend, one of my best friends, Randy. We were hanging out together watching probably SmackDown. John spent more time on SmackDown than he did anywhere else. And he was doing a rhyme, not really a rap. He was just kind of rhyming at the girl and said something along the lines of, I just remember the last line, which was, "I can help you with the white face." And me and my buddy were both like, "Oh, he can't say that on TV." It was so dumb. Hey, Brooklyn. Again, teenagers, we were dumb. But I do remember being enamored with him at one point. 2005, Monday Night Raw, draft. I'm sure you all remember this too. When he got drafted to Raw, I remember I think I might have literally jumped off whatever I was sitting on. Honey, it's just a name on a screen. I might have jumped off the couch, chair, whatever I was sitting on when his music hit. As he was the first draft pick for Monday Night Raw. I was still a huge John Cena fan. But in case you're wondering, yes, I did join the hater nation at one point, probably around 2006 or 7, when, John Cena really started to wind people up about 2005. Like the hype of him being moved to Raw as he was the WWE champion, and for a couple of weeks anyway, we had both world champions on Raw. Y'all remember that, right? John Cena got moved to Raw, no world champion on SmackDown. They had a whole tournament, and then Batista got moved to SmackDown at the very end of the draft. How did I not know wrestling was predetermined? Anyway, so shortly after that is when the axe started to fall. People started to get tired of John Cena because not only was he always winning matches, he was always world champion. They put him in these big feuds and be like, oh, maybe this guy can beat Cena and do this, that, and the third. And then John Cena would win, and then John Cena would win, and then John Cena would win, and then a guy would get real close, and then John Cena would win. And it got old. That's where the Cena wins LOL came from, which actually I would always say Cena wins LOL. It's more fun to pronounce LOL, I think. But when he became Super Cena, a lot of people hated him. I tried not to for a little while. I tried to be like, oh, this won't last forever. And then it lasted like a decade. So eventually I got sick of it too. I started booing John Cena. It was fun to boo John Cena. It was always cool to see him live. I've been to Raws, SmackDowns, pay-per-views. I've seen him live several times. I'm sure I've been to shows where I've booed him. Did I boo him at WrestleMania 30? Probably. I was such a big Bray Wyatt fan that I most likely booed him at WrestleMania 30. I'd have to go watch and see what the crowd actually sounded like. I don't remember. That was probably one of the best times of my life, seeing WrestleMania live, obviously, but seeing a John Cena entrance at WrestleMania, always cool. I think I remember watching the 2008 Royal Rumble. If you haven't seen, you don't need to watch the whole show, right? The 2008 Royal Rumble it's okay. It's a halfway decent show. But if you haven't seen the absolute insanity, I meant to say absolutely insane. I just lost my train of thought. The way that the crowd reacts when John Cena comes out. So if you don't know, again, I'm going to tell you. In 2007, John Cena suffered an injury. I can't remember what injury it was. I feel like it was a torn ACL or something like that. It was an injury that was supposed to keep him off wrestling or whatever for like 6 to 9 months or maybe even longer. Like I remember 9 months in my head. Like 9 months was either the minimum or the maximum. He came back in just under 4. Like it shouldn't be medically possible for someone to come back that quickly from whatever injury he had. It was literally like Superman. So when his music hits at the 2008 Royal Rumble, New York City, Madison Square Garden goes absolutely ballistic. How is he here? What is going on? This is super cool. He gets in the ring, and every single person in that arena, I don't know if they had a switch flick on or if they looked at their phones and it said, oh, by the way, John Cena just killed your favorite pet, but everyone starts booing him mercilessly after the whole, holy crap, he's back. Wait, we don't like you. It is hilarious. You have to see it at least once in your life. Again, the whole show, whatever. Just that entrance. Another one that I have to recommend to people is 2 years before that. ECW One Night Stand, 2006, when he comes out to face Rob Van Dam. Again, surreal, because in 2006, he was still pretty much beloved. I think it was starting to turn. The tide was starting to turn. But that's something else I watched live. Watching that live was ridiculous because out comes Rob Van Dam, the hero of all heroes, Mr. ECW. And then when John Cena's music hits, the Hammerstein Ballroom can only hold a couple thousand people. I don't even think it can hold 10,000 people. It's like 7 or 8, I think. I don't know for sure. I should look this up. But the amount of boos, the jeers are so loud, you would think it's the Superdome or the I almost said the Thunderdome or Madison Square Garden or some WrestleMania-sized venue. These people are booing so loud, and it's the famous, again, you have to see it for yourself. John Cena always, even to today, takes his shirt off, throws it in the crowd. Even when he was just hated beyond belief in the 2010s, when everyone hated him, he still did that because there was always kids that liked him. And even if parents hated him, they knew their kid liked John Cena, so John would throw his shirt in the crowd. At least some child would get it. But at the ECW show, he keeps throwing it to the crowd. They keep throwing it back. Again, it is such a crazy reaction. One fan really goes ballistic when he throws it back, flipping him off and saying swear words. I'm pretty sure on the night, the guy was swearing so loud you could hear him. But, of course, that's been edited out. He's always been a divisive figure, is my point. And I remember, again, I'm not trying to tell you the history. I literally just told you two things out of order. I'm just trying to tell you what I remember. Things that I remember being excited for. I remember, speaking of, when he wrestled Edge in the Last Man Standing match. It's one of my favorite matches ever because it was the very first time that, as far as I remember, that someone took the bottom half of the steel steps to use as a weapon. Well, people have used it as weapons, but John Cena picks it up over his head and throws it out of the ring, just hits Edge in the face with it, because why not, I guess. I remember losing my mind at that as a kid because growing up, I always thought that the steps were heavy, and I assumed that the bottom half was heavier. So here's John Cena just picking him up and chucking him over the top rope into somebody's face. It also has one of the funniest endings in history. Again, I don't remember when this was. I think it was at a Vengeance pay-per-view. But I was still young enough, or naive enough anyway, to still kind of believe that wrestling was real enough. I still bought into it. I still didn't know it was a work all the way. And when the Big Show comes out and choke slams John Cena through that light that explodes, as a child, teenager, whatever I was like, so I assumed John Cena was going to get injured and was gone forever. And then I grew up, became an adult, learned what wrestling was, rewatch it, and I laugh every time. It's still a cool visual. The Big Show picks up John Cena and just throws him through this searchlight, and sparks go everywhere. And of course the glass breaks, which I'm sure was sugar glass, but still, it's still a cool visual, but now I get to giggle at it. It's like, oh, I know what's going on. I'm going to walk you through a few more of my favorite John Cena matches and moments, because I think this is important for his retirement. His, I think, Last Man Standing match with Umaga, that's a good one. If you haven't seen John Cena versus Umaga, Last Man Standing, it's incredible. There is blood, there is violence. Umaga is booked like a true old school monster. You just can't keep him down. I don't want to spoil the finish in case you haven't seen it and you're like, oh, I want to check that out. Please do. The finish is fantastic. That's one of the good matches. That's one of John Cena's best. Everything he did with CM Punk. The Monday Night Raw match. I have a story about the Monday Night Raw match. I'll tell you guys in a minute. But him and CM Punk on Monday Night Raw from ages and ages ago. 2011 or 2012. I actually don't remember. Oh, no. It had to be 2012. It was 2012 or 2013. That's better. Because I was in the military when I watched it. The one that sticks out in my head, another silly one, but I just absolutely love it. I think it's John Cena and Ryback in a 3 Stages of Hell. I think that's right. I know there's an ambulance match involved. And that it was either just an ambulance match or it was the third match of a 3 Stages of Hell. And the way it ends, they keep breaking the ambulance, which, again, is just hilarious. John Cena just, rips the lights off the top and starts beating Ryback with them. I think they rip a door off at one point. It's like this ambulance. This is a medical emergency vehicle, right? That WWE supposedly borrows so that they can use it for a wrestling match. And these two guys are just literally tearing it apart. So that's not a very good ambulance. But it ends when John Cena AAs Ryback on the top of it. But he goes through it. Again, first time I saw it, I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. I was like, whoa, that's amazing. You go rewatch it again, it is the fakest thing in the entire world. I don't notice it still to this day, but when Ryback goes through it, it's so clear that it's like a trap door. He just goes, it's not even that cool. Yeah, I see. But it is entertaining. It's always fun to watch. The John Cena CM Punk match, I'll go ahead and just tell you about that. I actually watched that on the ship that I was on, I was in the Navy. We were underway. We had pretty good cable. And I was sick. I had a bad day. And I was really sick. So it was on Monday. And I was laying in my bunk. And when it came time for Raw to be on, everyone was off work. Everyone was off doing whatever. They had told me that if I felt up to it, I could come in for an overnight shift. I don't know if you know how the military works, but we don't get paid hourly or anything. However, they were like, they could use some help overnight. And I was like, yeah, maybe I can go see if you guys need anything. But when Raw came on, I decided to go check it out. I sat down, I had like hot soup to like make myself feel better. I don't stay sick for very long when I get sick, but this was underway. My stuff was all my metabolism, my immune system was all screwed up. So I was still feeling not too hot when Raw came on. So I just flipped it on the screen, was eating my soup, and CM Punk John Cena main event, and I loved it. Like, if you haven't seen it, again, I'm going to say this a lot, so it's my catchphrase. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. But this is back in, like I said, 2012, 2013, and there's a pile driver. Back then the pile driver was banned. And I don't know for sure, but they may have gotten in trouble for doing that because it was banned. And there's even a Hurricane Rana from John Cena that actually looks pretty good. It's a good match, but the story is that while I was watching the John Cena CM Punk match, this guy, his name is Joseph Cooley. If any of you know a guy named Joseph Cooley who was in the Navy, slap him. He's a piece of shit. I really wish I would have beaten the hell out of him at least once. Everybody hated the motherfucker. I don't mean to rant about someone from the military, but I'm not going to sit here. I'm just going to tell you the truth. The guy's name was Joseph Cooley. He comes in the room, complete jackass, sees I'm watching wrestling, and starts getting on my case. I thought you were sick. What are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, I was raised by people who, if I was sick, you watched The Price is Right. You can watch TV when you're sick. I don't know what I'm rambling about. I just think this is a funny story. He was like telling me I need to leave and trying to turn the TV off. He grabbed the remote. I took it out of his hands, and I said, dude, this is almost over. I'll go see if anyone needs anything when it's over. He's like, oh, well, you shouldn't be up if you're not feeling well. And I promptly told him to fuck off. And he did. He left. I don't know if he told on me or anything. I never got in any trouble, but sorry. You can ignore that part. But no, the point is, it's funny that whenever I think of that match on Raw, John Cena, CM Punk, great match. Everyone that has seen it loves it. I'm also like, oh yeah, that was that time that guy was an asshole to me because I was watching TV while I was sick. It's amazing how stupid people are. We all, of course, remember his feud with Bray Wyatt, one of the best. His match with The Fiend at WrestleMania 36, which I can't watch WrestleMania 36. If you can, more power to you. I can watch the AJ Styles Undertaker match and the John Cena Bray Wyatt spectacle. I can't call it a match. It's a Firefly Funhouse match, but there's no wrestling. Very little wrestling at that. It's just a story where you like go through John Cena's career, and then he gets to do all these things he's always wanted to do, like be a part of the NWO and stuff like that. He tries to do the ruthless aggression trick. He ends up pinning Huskus or something. It's really funny. But the older John Cena got, the more we all started to realize how good he was. Like in WWE, right now in his retirement year, they keep calling him the greatest of all time. Michael Cole's always called him that. He technically has the record, 17 world titles in WWE specifically. I don't think anyone's done that. Ric Flair's world title reigns were mostly like WCW and maybe the WWF. The point is, some of Ric Flair's 16 title reigns weren't specifically WWF, WWE, / my battery's dead. Specifically one or the other. So for John Cena having 17 world title reigns overall, that their whole thing's like, oh, he's held 17 world titles. Yeah, but he's also held 17 world titles in WWE. That's huge. So, and I do think there are a lot of people that do consider him the greatest of all time. Do I? No. Do I consider him to be the greatest entertainer of all time? He's up there. I know a lot of people are going to jump up my ass because Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, I don't know, Santino Marella, whoever else, Hulk Hogan, obviously up there, Macho Man Randy Savage. But you can't have this conversation about the best sports entertainer without talking about John Cena. Is he the best wrestler? No. Can he wrestle? Yes. I was unfortunately brainwashed by the hater nation from back in the day, and I would chant when I went to shows or even watching on TV, you can't wrestle. I yell at my TV, you can't wrestle, mother. That was dumb. Yes, he can. John Cena could wrestle. He just wasn't Will Ospreay. And Will Ospreay style wrestling wasn't super popularized back during that era when everyone hated John Cena. Was it around? Of course it was. Of course the flippy yippy doo acrobatic insanity existed back then. It's just, it wasn't that popular, and people suddenly expected John Cena to do dives and Hurricane Ranas and springboards and stuff. And he tried to add stuff like that into his arsenal, but I don't think it was necessary. Cena could wrestle, he just had his own style. And there are matches out there, his stuff with Kevin Owens, his stuff with Roman Reigns, this year with Cody Rhodes, match with AJ Styles, where I think it's no longer arguable that John Cena could wrestle. Yes, you can go back to the mid-2000s, find a match with Randy Orton where all they do is punch, kick, shoulder tackle, spine buster, disqualification. But everyone does that. All wrestlers get involved in shitty, boring matches. I can promise you, your favorite wrestler was in a shitty, boring match at least once. Maybe not Will Ospreay. I'm joking. Calm down. I make jokes about wrestling on either side, on either company, and somebody always comes after me. I promise it's all just jokes. I'm having a good time. I've got tons of other John Cena memories, but I'm not going to sit here and bore you with all of them. I was just telling you some of my favorites. I will say I never got tired of John Cena, Randy Orton. That was something that people got tired of at one point. They were like, oh man, this is John Cena versus Randy Orton number 9,000. And I'm like, I don't care. They had decent chemistry. I'm trying to think. I'm not going to sit here and talk about my least favorite John Cena stuff. I think that's stupid, right? I mean, it'd be John Laurinaitis. I don't want to sit here and crap on a guy who's getting ready to retire. Excuse me. But if I had to pick my least favorite John Cena skit moments, it's the Nexus stuff that was ruined immediately at SummerSlam. And I tried to pretend that it was exciting afterwards when John Cena had to join the Nexus. And then the stuff with John Laurinaitis. Just dumb. Why was John Cena versus John Laurinaitis the main event of a pay-per-view? Somebody explain that to me. His retirement tour, I'm going to tell you an unpopular opinion. There hasn't been a single moment of John Cena's run in 2025 that I have not enjoyed. I have loved all of it. The stuff at the Rumble with Jey Uso, great. Elimination Chamber will live on as one of the greatest heel turns of all time. If you can bring yourself to just live in the moment, which I do a lot, it's amazing. It's incredible. It's one of the best things you're ever going to see because we never thought it would happen. And the reaction. Whew, it's one of those reactions that WWE is going to put in videos in the future about, oh, the top 15 most shocking heel turns of all time or loudest crowd reactions. That's in there. That's in the top 10 or 15 loudest crowd reactions. I liked his heel turn. Some of his promos, yeah, they were a little bit wonky. Oh God, I did this. Wonky is a decent word. I thought most of them were fun. They made me laugh. They made me smile just because it was happening. I think all of his matches were fine when he was a heel because the reason people were complaining is exactly what he said he was going to do. So he was a classic like 1980s wrestling heel. He said, I'm going to make wrestling boring. I'm going to make you hate wrestling. I'm going to ruin wrestling for you. Then he would go have a match with like Randy Orton or CM Punk or whoever else he wrestled in that time frame. I can't believe I don't remember all his opponents. And he would have a boring match. The Cody Rhodes match at WrestleMania. I know that fell apart, but I actually liked it up until Fiend played for 6,000 years. But he would go do that. He'd have a boring wrestling match, make you hate it, and then you go complain online, and it's like, that's what he wanted. So I liked it a lot. I didn't mind the very quick, sudden, hey, SummerSlam's tomorrow. I'm a good guy now. I didn't mind that at all. SummerSlam match will be in my favorite matches of the year. So there's a little spoiler for you. Him and Cody Rhodes, it's just, they had an incredible match. And the rest of the year has been great. I am making this video, like I said, in advance of his retirement match because I feel like that's the right thing to do. I feel like these are going to start flooding YouTube soon. There are already a few out. I went and looked before I made this one. So I'll get mine out a little early. I've loved his babyface run. His match with Logan Paul I thought was really fun. His match with Dominic Mysterio, 2 thumbs way, way up. He had that 6-man tag on Raw where he teamed with Sheamus and Rey Mysterio. Just great, just fantastic. He's just very good at what he does. I will never be okay with what happened at WrestlePalooza. If you disagree, good for you. I understand we all have different opinions, but honestly, that was stupid. But I have enjoyed his babyface run, and now here we are, 25 minutes into this video, 23 years later. I don't even know what to say. We're 6 days away from him wrestling Gunther. I'm going to tell you right now, spoiler alert for my picks and predictions, he should win. He's lost singles matches 3 times this year now. Cody, Brock, and Dom. He shouldn't lose again. Gunther doesn't need it. Everyone's saying, oh, well, John's a traditionalist. They should let him lose and to put someone, or go out on his back and give someone a big push. We did that with Gunther with Goldberg, and we didn't push him. Like, he didn't even, I don't think he came out more than once or twice and was like, oh, I beat Goldberg. That should have been a platform for Gunther. We didn't do it then. We're not going to do it now. Let John Cena win. And then, and then it's over. I don't think that even people who have hated John Cena maybe their whole lives. I got friends that are like, I never liked John Cena. They're bullshitting. Apparently my daughter has a lot to say about this. Even people that do still hate John Cena can't deny the impact he's had over the last 2 decades plus, because he changed wrestling in a lot of ways, some good, some bad. I know he was a big advocate for the PG era, but if you don't like the PG era stuff, watch the PG era stuff is fine. That's where like the CM Punk match comes in. But you watch the stuff pre-PG era, and it's just, that's where the Umaga match is. And the Brock Lesnar, he did like a Brock Lesnar match. I think that's the one where Brock Lesnar like kills him for 20 minutes and John Cena just wins. John Cena wins, LOL. He has like is it an I Quit match maybe with JBL or something? There's a lot of matches where John Cena is an absolute bloody fountain mess. That before the PG era hit. So just go watch that stuff. And then watch some of his stuff from the last couple of years. That one match he did with Roman Reigns was insane when Roman was the tribal chief and John came back. Holy shit. The crowd was so ready for that. 2 of the biggest names and egos in the company. So I do think he's going to be done. There are some weirdos on the internet that think he's going to appear at WrestleMania next year. If he does, it'll either be because he's in the Hall of Fame, because you know WWE ain't going to wait too long to do that. Or, you know, whatever, as like a host or a special guest or whatever. Like he's not, I think he's actually going to be done like Batista. He's going to go home. He's going to be done wrestling. He'll show up from time to time and do guest appearances. Like I said, he'll be in the Hall of Fame. There's also this small contingent, like this big. I want to put it up to the camera there. You see that big, that somehow think he's going to go to AEW. I will come on this channel and eat a raw avocado. I hate avocado. John Cena is not going to All Elite Wrestling. Just like there's people that think Edge was going to be in the Last Time Is Now tournament. He signed to a multi-year contract to All Elite Wrestling, and Triple H and Tony Khan hate each other. That was never going to happen. And then I saw this really crazy post that people agreed with on one. I'm in a couple of wrestling groups. Somebody said that on Saturday, Gunther's going to get jumped by like a group of people, and then it's going to turn out that they were hired by The Rock, and The Rock's going to come out, and we're going to do Rock versus Cena. I was like, y'all, Dwayne Johnson wouldn't take a piss in the arena that SNME is happening at on Saturday. That is never going to happen. We're getting John Cena versus Gunther. I'm sure Gunther will kind of lead John through some of it because John is older or whatever. We'll get some cool moments. We'll get like, Gunther will do one of his big power bombs and a splash, and John will kick out at 2. And then we'll get a, AA, 1, 2, Maybe Gunther could kick out at 1. Everyone kicks out at 2 of the first AA these days. Maybe Gunther could kick out at 1. That'd be cool. But in the end, John Cena will beat Gunther, probably by submission. I don't think that's how it should go down, but that's for picks and predictions. We'll talk about that later on. The point of this video, I know it seems like a waste of time, but it was just to talk about John Cena and appreciate the guy for a little while. Because after December 13th, on December 14th, on December 15th, so on and so forth, we're all going to be like, that's it. No more surprise appearances, no more, oh my gosh, he's back. He's done. And he's done so much for the WWE that we can't ignore it. Again, even if you still don't like John Cena, you can't deny what he's done for the company. Good or bad, I know. PG, blah, 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 who cares? But I think that as the time goes on, as the years go on, we're all going to continuously look back fondly on John Cena's moments, especially when the Hall of Fame, when he goes in there. And I am sure that there's going to be a video package on Saturday that is going to make all of us pour water from this part of our body, because somebody already put together a few months ago. I was looking up some like reflection videos and thank you Cena videos. Somebody already made one with "Leave the Memories Alone," which is the song they used when Ric Flair was supposed to retire from WWE, and that video made me cry. And that was almost 20 years ago. So imagine how I'm going to feel when they do it with whatever they do with John Cena. So I guess that's it. So thank you everybody so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Leave comments about your favorite John Cena moments. Are you on the right side of history? No, I'm just joking. Do you respect him now? Have you always loved him? I think I already said, like, what are your some favorite moments, matches? Go ahead and let me know in the comments. Like I said, I know I have a small channel, and I know that these videos are going to start coming out more and more and more, especially as the 13th gets closer, and after it passes, people are going to rank the Gunther match and talk about Cena's career as a whole. I know it's going to be good. I don't think it's going to go anywhere in my favorite matches of all time. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll talk about it when the review comes around. If you've made it this far, you can go ahead and head out because I'm done talking about John Cena. I just want to quickly, once again, run you through a couple of things, because some of my videos coming up, my of the year videos and stuff like that, may be from my car. It is really hard to do videos at home right now. You would not believe how long it took for me to get settled to do this one. But I just want to let you know, it may be in my car. I apologize for that. I will try not to do that, but we'll see. Picks and predictions will probably be from my car because that's the easiest way to do it. The review should be like this. When I review Saturday Night's Main Event, I should be at home with the screen behind me, probably with John Cena, and my eyes will be red from crying and being up all night with a baby. But it'll be a good time. And then, yeah, all of my end of year videos, they may come from my car. The 2-year anniversary will not be from my car. I refuse. So whenever we do that, that'll be from here. I think the 26th is a Friday, so we'll probably do the 2-year anniversary video that weekend, 27th or the 28th. So I guess that's it. I'm going to end this video by saying, for real, genuinely, thank you to John Cena. I know he's never going to see this, but we have loved him, we have hated him, we have respected him, we've cried for him, we've raged at him. He's easily the most polarizing superstar of all time, and I will not hear anything else about it. So until next time, and until John Cena is no longer part of WWE, this is JT Channel. I am JT, and I will see you in the next one.